You're always trading your time for money.
Yep.
Always, 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 always.
If you're happy with what you do, it's not really work.
Yeah. I like how you stress, though, like it's not an easy decision.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Sky's the Limit podcast. We're your hosts, Mike and Ryan. Today, we have an awesome guest, Bob LaChance. We've had the privilege to know him for a couple years. We actually utilized one of his companies that we'll talk about here today in the virtual assistant space. But Bob has been investing in real estate since 2004 after transitioning his career as a professional hockey player. We'll talk about that a little bit. He's done well over 1,500 transactions since then and has actually helped build a real estate coaching program for Fortune 500 companies and has started multiple business in the real estate space. Last year, his team closed over 240 deals, and on top of all that, he's the founder and CEO of the premier virtual assistant staffing company, REVA Global, which helps real estate professionals get their time back and close more deals. This is going to actually be a 4-part series, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to listen to all 4 parts.
Bob LaChance, welcome to the show. Really appreciate your time today. Let's get into it. Tell me about yourself. I want to know about REVA. I want to know about how you got into rental property ownership, wholesaling, everything. You were a professional hockey player? That's crazy.
I was back in the day.
That's very cool. Tell us about how you got started in this business.
Absolutely. So just a 2-second rundown. I went to Boston University, played ice hockey there, signed a professional contract right out of there with St. Louis Blues. And I played 8 years pro. And one of the things I do want to say, and I know we're going to probably get to this, I left school 2 classes early before getting my degree. And I know you're probably going to ask questions why I left, but we'll get to that in a minute. So to fast forward the story, played 8 years and then decided, hey, either I'm going to go back to school or not go back to school or jump into an industry that had 0 barriers of entry. So obviously we all know that real estate, you don't need a license, you don't need anything to get into the investment side. Of course, on the agent side, we all need a license for the agency side. So decided to jump into real estate. I joined a local real estate investment association. And the first thing I did is I bought a course on real estate. And then I farmed areas, drove around neighborhoods. What that means is driving around neighborhoods and, just looking at properties that are either, dilapidated or vacant, et cetera. And then what I would do is I would either go door knock or I would cold call. So I'd call this back in 2004. So now we're going way back. It's about 20 years ago. So we're going way back. I had no formal education on investing. I just jumped literally right in because it was either, like I said, go back to school or, jump into something where you don't need to go back to school. I'm huge on education now, to be honest with you, but back in the day, I did not want to do it. So anyway, I ended up getting this one property. I made an offer. It was $185,000 listed. I put an offer in for, I believe it's $130,000, and they accepted it. This is in West Hartford on Whiting Lane back in the day.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So, obviously I was looking at the list price and then what to offer. I knew nothing. So I'm like, what's the worst they could say is no? And they said yes. And I'm like, what do I do now? So I had to find money. I had to find, I called mortgage brokers. I needed to find rehabbers. I needed to do all that. So I ended up putting it all together. Closed on it, rehabbed it in 2 months, ended up making about $32,000 in that first deal.
Hell yeah.
It was lucky, just so we're transparent, because I had no systems, no processes, nothing. But what that did teach me is that I had 0 systems. I know we were talking about this before. I didn't even know what marketing was because I got lucky. I was driving around and made an offer. They accepted it. And then, so I went back to the Real Estate Association, CTREA. And I saw a pre-foreclosure speaker speak. And I was a buyer at that time. I would have bought anything, any type of education. So I purchased this course. And then the next event, I asked everybody in CTREA, who is the top pre-foreclosure investor, short sale investor in Connecticut? And they all pointed to the same gentleman, Pat Precourt. So I went up to him. I said, hey, Pat, you have no idea who I am, but I'm looking to join a team. Because for me, working by myself, I don't like it. Mm-hmm. I know some people are lone wolves, but over time, you're really capped if you just want to work by yourself. Yep. And this is my opinion. I know other people love doing it. I don't. So I went up to him and he said, actually, you know what I'm looking for? A door knocker.
All right.
I know.
Brutal. Brutal.
I don't recommend anybody does that. This is back in 2004. Right. We didn't have, the assets we have, like cold calling, texting, and all that kind of stuff. We didn't have that. So I door knocked for a year straight from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Wow.
And then so he just gave me a pre-foreclosure list. So I would do that from 10 to 3, then I would go home and I would skip trace them. I'd go to like 411.com or White Pages, and I would look for the best phone number for that property. And then I would call until 7, and then I would get yelled at because I would have to eat dinner with my kids, my family. And then I'm sure you guys have experienced it or experience it now because real estate, we love real estate, and that's what we do. So then I would stop at about 7 o'clock and then rinse and repeat every day.
Wow.
And then I got into real estate education while I was investing. I helped start a company called Fortune Builders. You guys know that name. They were huge up until COVID, and then they made a pivot. Then I started REVA, which is my virtual assistant company, back in 2014, prior to COVID. And then fast forward today, I also run a real estate company, and we did 230 transactions 2 years ago. We did 100, I think we're at 150 this past year.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's impressive.
Yeah, congrats on all your success.
Thank you.
A lot to digest there. So you have REVA Global, which we definitely want to get into probably in a different segment because there's so much going on there. And we personally use REVA Global every day. And Judith, our VA, is amazing. Awesome. Already trained in real estate. So how was that? Can you just talk about how that transition was going from hockey to real estate? Was it mainly because you didn't want to go back to school at the time? Like you were so close, but you felt like you could basically make a couple bucks without having to spend all the money on a college degree, so to speak. So I think a lot of our listeners are either at their W-2 job now or maybe just graduating high school and maybe don't want to go to college. And I'm not saying college is for a lot of people. It's not for everyone, right? Thank God we have all the tradesmen in our lives, right? So maybe just talk about that transition, kind of your mindset at the time, what made you decide to do what you did.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't easy, I'll be honest with you, because you have pressure to go back to school. And one of the things I knew is if I went back to school, someone would actually own me. And I know that sounds bad, but I never wanted that pull always to be, hey, I have a fallback position. So if I got my degree and then I got a W-2 job and then I was working real estate, I would always have that fallback position, right? For me, I don't like the safety net per se. Yep. I mean, now our safety net is buying rentals and having passive income, et cetera. But when you're first starting out, for me, I kind of like that pressure, and I perform best when there's pressure on me. Mm-hmm. So and again, we're going back to 2004, right?
But that probably stems from your time playing hockey.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking too.
To imagine.
Yeah. So, I decided, and again, we all have that point of decision, whether, like you said, someone's graduating from high school, graduating from college, or changing your career path. It's a nerve-wracking decision. It's a tough decision because you have, if whoever's married and they're trying to make that transition, you're getting pressure from your spouse or you're getting pressure from your family. You have so many naysayers in this business that say, oh, you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. And some advice I would give people is be careful who you're listening to, because if someone didn't try it and didn't do it, don't listen to them at all.
Right.
And
couldn't agree more.
It's very important. I know a lot of us have experienced that where it's like, oh, don't do it. You're going to fail. You're going to fail. And all of a sudden, when you're successful, oh, I told you could do it.
Yep. You
right?
miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That's exactly
Absolutely
right. So just be careful with that. So basically the answer to your question is I just did not want to have that fallback position for myself.
Yeah. And did you have a family at the time with?
Yeah.
Wow. No kidding. That's amazing.
Yeah. So at the time, my wife was working in medical sales. Mm-hmm. So there was another income there, but there was the pressure of go to school or get your degree, work in this industry as well. So, and I'm like, that's not how I'm wound.
That's the easy route, the route of the path of least resistance, right? Yeah, it's just not. It's not for you. It's not for us either. I mean, I was not very similar, but I was working a very cushy W-2 job. I got the 4-year degree, got a great job at a school, was making good coin, and was just like woke up one day and was like, I can't do this for the next 40 years. Yep. Staring at your, in your cubicle, looking at the 2 monitors. It's like, oh man, this fucking sucks.
Yeah, you're clock killing.
Yeah,
that's
you
all
are.
You're doing.
You're always trading your time for money.
Yep.
Always. And then in real estate now, it's passive.
Yeah.
I mean, through wholesaling and through property management, it's active, but you're building your own portfolio, so it's not so much like work as it is, a future.
If you're happy with what you do, it's not really work.
Yeah. I like how you stress though, like it's not an easy decision.
Yeah.
So like when my daughter was born, I was just talking about her, she's 14 months today. I never went back to work when she was born, and my wife stays home. She doesn't work. So like it's,
you have double pressure on you.
It's double pressure.
Yeah.
Like it's a real thing. So like if you want to do this whole real estate thing and live this real estate life, right?
Yeah.
Like you just got to make sure like you are closing deals. And if it takes to door knocking, 9 to 5, your new job is door knocking, then that's what it takes.
And the business this is not an easy business. Like you can make a lot of money in this business, but you have to work. And then you have to set the systems and processes up like we were talking about. And for me, I think today's real estate's different than it was before, where you have to start building a team. And you got to work with, whether it's partners, whether it's agents, other investors, right? I mean, on the wholesale side, whether it's virtual assistants, whatever it is, I think the team aspect is extremely important to be successful in today's real estate market.
I agree. There's so much scale that you can achieve. Like if you're a lone wolf and you're not taking advantage of a virtual assistant or all the tech that's out, PropStream, all those fancy sites, you're just searching Zillow. It's just not scalable.
In the lone wolves, I mean, think about this. And we were all in this position. A lot of, maybe individuals that are listening to this, maybe your viewers that are listen to this are lone wolves right now. You can make 100% of everything, but in the end, you're going to lose a lot of money by looking at it that way. I'd rather take 50% of something and do triple amount of deals rather than 100% of everything and be burnt out.
Yeah, you also hedge your risk when you have a partner or partners.
Correct.
I'd rather do, like you said, less deals, but not have as much risk and sleep well at night as well.
Yeah. And we get to work with each other, right?
Yeah.
I'm working for you, you're working for me. We get up, we push each other, we motivate each other. There's a lot of positives. Absolutely. And like I said before, you can make a lot of money in this business. You just got to work your butt off and set up the systems and processes.
Yeah. I got to know though, the door knocking. Were you getting paid on an hourly basis? Were you part of the deals on the back end if it closed?
Yeah, I was getting paid part of the deal when it closed. So in the short sale world, it takes forever to get a check, right? So we would do a lot of stuff back in the day where we'd use land trusts, and without getting into the weeds of it. So we would get a property under a contract, we put the property in a land trust, and then we'd list it in the MLS, and then we'd find an end buyer, same hole, and we do a double close. So we would not have to bring money to the table, which today is a little different world. But we do a kind of it was called a simultaneous closing back in the day. So it was a little different, but I was not getting paid. So I was door knocking. Money was out of my pocket for gas. Money was out of my pocket for literally everything.
Yeah.
So it took me about a year after I made my first check rehabbing, it took me about a year to start making money.
Yeah. Wow. That's a huge risk. So yeah.
It was big. And I had I was getting flack on the other side of it.
I'm sure.
Because you're not making money, this doesn't work. You got other people that are just...
You get flack if you're doing well, if you get flack if you're not doing well.
It's part of the game, right? It doesn't matter.
I know. Really appreciate your insights on how you got started real estate investing. I think a lot of people can relate to that and can certainly empathize with you. And maybe they're not professional hockey players, but they're working their W-2 job now. They're listening to this, and they just need a little bit more motivation to take that next step, that next transition that we all took. I really appreciate that. Thank you for watching Sky's the Limit. We're always releasing new real estate content, so if there's something you want to hear, be sure to leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
And remember, sky's the limit, dive deep, and invest in how you want to live. See you in the next video.